Hey guys, it's Epic Underworlds, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can make your very own starter decks for your homemade trading card games. I don't feel like there's been many videos on this topic, so I thought I'd make one with quite a bit of experience playing other people's starter decks and making my own. Starter decks are super important to get players into your card game, and if they don't want to spend all this money buying packs and building a deck, they have this awesome option. And one big rule I always do with starter decks is a lot of people make their starter decks super non-powerful, and that doesn't make your player exactly want to get them. They should be simple to use, like easy to use, but also powerful, where this could, like, they buy this deck and they can use this even in competitive play. Now they can always buy packs to edit their deck, which is something that I think is very fun, but starter decks should be pretty powerful. Or what you can have is weak starter decks that are super easy, and then you can also have a second tier of products called like pro champion decks, which are a little bit harder to use, but they're a little bit more powerful. So either one will pertain to this video. So first, you're going to want to take out a piece of paper and just start sketching out some themes. So for my newest card game, which is my Underworlds TCG, I wanted to do the theme of these grunt characters. Now, nobody's ever really drawn things like these, so it's unique to my style. And I just started drawing creatures, items, and until I had quite a few different arts. Now, normally I don't draw arts first. I actually make the playtest cards. Making playtest cards is super important for making starter decks, because if you don't have playtest cards, how are you supposed to know if the decks are balanced or not? Like, I have playtest cards for one deck and playtest cards for the other deck, and I do at least 10 different battle videos, or 10 different playtest battles, and if they each win about evenly, then I'd say those decks are balanced with each other. If this deck wins like 9 out of the 10 times, I would definitely either make this one weaker or make the other one stronger. You also just want your cards to work together in art style and mechanics. So, for example, these are the grunts. Now, this card looks a lot like this card, but it doesn't exactly fit together with this a little egg card, so I ended up not using that one. But for cards like this one, like this grunt obviously fits in with this grunt. So having art style kind of gel together is also important. And also, when making starter decks, you don't want to just have like 30 different cards. You want to have multiple copies of each card, just so it's easier to use and easier to grasp, and also so your opponent, or so the player doesn't have to read like 30 different card abilities. They can have like 3 albino shankfishes and like in their deck, so when they grab another, they already know what it does. Also, for starter decks, don't just make them make them simple. Have some cards that don't have any abilities and just stats, but also give your decks combos. Now, combos can be anything like, oh, when this card's discarded, gain 1 point, and then you can have another card that says to play this card, discard a card, and you can kind of do a little combo like that. Now, try to do like small combos, big combos, medium combos, whatever you want. But if your deck just has basic cards with no abilities, then the game isn't as engaging because you're just playing down a card, killing your opponent. There's no action. So add combos that will engage the player, but make those combos simple to use. You also have to pick up a theme for your deck. Your deck can be aggro, where it's all combat, no defense, or maybe balanced, where it's kind of a little bit of both. You can also have defensive decks, which have a bunch of counters to your enemy spells, or have really high defense values. You can also have build-up decks, which is this deck right here, the Shank Tank. Basically, every time you can have 7 copies of this card Shankfish in your deck, and every time a Shankfish enters your discard pile, all your other Shankfish gain 1 attack. So at the start of the turn, you're paying high cost for these super weak cards, but at the end of the turn, they're overpowered. So that's kind of a fun deck you could do. You could also do like tricky decks where you kind of mess with your opponent and you stop all their plans, or maybe you could even add like a massive combo deck, where all the cards synergize with each other and just focus on one major combo. Then, once you have all of the ideas down, you're going to start making your deck. So, to make your deck, playtest-wise, just take some index cards, cut them in half, and then just take any other like trading card game you have laying around and tape these abilities onto the cards. You can even sleeve them if you want to, but then you got to playtest your decks. You can also do this on Untap, which is an awesome website where you can just upload all your cards and play online with people. But once you have these cards, like for example, I've made quite a few different versions of this specific deck, and I've play tested it went back, remade the cards, playtested again, went back, changed up a few cards, added some cards until I finally have a deck that synergizes well and works well. And also, when playtesting, you might find out that you actually have some pretty fun combos, or maybe you find out that you have a really overpowered combo. The main point of this video is you guys really should playtest your starter decks, because if you don't playtest, the player might be really disappointed with the decks they have. They could either be super bad or super overpowered compared to the other deck they get. But yeah, this was this video. If you guys have any other tips for anyone else in the community, please comment them down below and I'll try to pin them. But that was this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.